Show you real quickly how to feed your bees in the winter should you need to do so. These first two hives felt a little light to me, and really the reason is because these two didn't get to backfill their brood chamber as much. There are ways you can avoid that and force them to backfill their brood chamber. You can pull honey supers a little earlier when there's still some honey flow, and that will give them a chance to backfill. You can feed more post-robbing, or you can give them less honey supers to begin with, but that's kind of a guessing game by nature, so it's hard to really know. At any rate, if you give them too much space, say you add another super on, that can have its own caveat of problems. Too much space to keep warm being the main one there. But then also you lose your honey supers to brood. So what I've done is you need a little spacer for room for the sugar. You don't want it to be too big. You can build one, but I just, with the table saw, I had a buddy cut a medium super into 3 separate pieces, and this is going to work fine. You have to watch here on your lip. The bees will come up through, and more importantly, you'll have extra ventilation, which you may have plenty of ventilation already, and that the bees have adapted to for the winter, and this might cause too much of a cold draft. So make sure you get that facing. For me, up works best against the insulated inner cover to keep the draft down. And then I'll follow up by taping where I put this new spacer on. So I'll run it through real quickly here, and it's good to do this when it's warm enough, at least for the bees to be doing wasting flights, which you can see these bees are actively coming out of the hive. And then you can also see these brown specks in the snow, which could have been from a different day, but it's still neat to see on film here real quick. That's bee droppings. It's starting to cool off, but they were coming in and out. Here's my insulated inner cover. I'm just gonna pop this off real quickly, and I'll get to actually look at what my winter cluster looks like for the first time, since you don't typically open your hive in the winter time. So this one's not nearly as strong as the last hive we looked at. It's not bad though. And it looks like they have, they haven't even really uncapped a lot of this. So they're probably okay for their size. But regardless, I want to feed them since I'm already in here and disturbing them.
Is that mold okay?
Mold is fine. You'll see mold in the winter time because they can't keep their hive clean. They'll clean it in the spring when they have more bees and more energy, and they're actually using that space. I don't want to crush the bees. I'm only using a single piece of newspaper for them to chew through, but I need 2 to actually get me covered up here. So it's interesting to note, I've treated that hive over there, which is stronger, with more oxalic acid when they had a brood break this spring, this spring when I installed the package. This one I've only just recently treated with oxalic acid vaporizer during the winter brood break. So hopefully they'll make a really good rebound and be strong enough to split. That one is certainly going to be strong enough to split if they don't run out of food. I just wet this a slight bit, and then I want to get as many of those bees down as possible so I don't trap any, but you want to be quick too. Now I just take this is standard granulated sugar, just a 4-pound bag, and I'll slowly put it on the top. I don't want to tear the newspaper. And you just kind of evenly spread it out. And the water is mostly to help the sugar form into a hard, almost candy-like state. so it doesn't just spill out when they chew through the paper. And we just even it out. And we spray it down just a little bit. This spray bottle doesn't work very well because they can't make these things work very well. I just bought this, and of course it sucks because that's America. So you can't see how much water I'm putting on here, but it's not much. Just enough to get each crystal slightly damp so that it'll bind with itself. And this is just insurance for me. It's a warm enough day. It's been a really strange winter. It's been warmer than normal, and the bees therefore have been breaking the hard cluster and feeding more. There's an efficient temperature range in which the bees eat less food and still remain warm enough. Once you get above that, you run into issues with them going through their food too quickly, and possibly if you have a quick temperature drop, you'll end up losing part of your cluster, might get frozen, or you'll end up with two clusters until they can find each other again. So this winter's been tough on them for sure, but at any rate, that exact principle is why I decided to do a trial run and not cover tar paper along with all my hives, because it's going to get the hives warmer on those warm days, which is good for accessing food, but might throw them above that threshold too often where they consume too much food as well. So it's all personal opinion, and it's all a gamble. Then I'm taping it up to seal any draft because there's no propolis on here, and propolis is expensive for the bees to make, and they'll do it anyways, but it might take them some time, so I'm just helping them out. This is extra. You don't necessarily have to do this, especially if you're using a strap to keep the hive together. This is nice if you have tar paper. It'll help seal the tar paper from having water run underneath and behind it. And then you just put your strap back on and you're done.